Hi everyone. In this video, we can see how we can build a powerful dashboard using Databricks, right? So, as in other dashboarding tools like Power BI, we have various options. So, in this case, I will highlight the key options which are available within Databricks. Number one, you have a summary, right? Like as a cards, you have cards in your Power BI. So, you have this counter chart which will give you the summary overall aggregated output, right? Say what is the total order and what is the supplier customer, right? And then you have another option known as cross filtering, where once you select a particular part of your graph, it will automatically filter the other graph. So this is a comparison between your customers in your particular country versus the revenue you are basically getting from that country, right? And next thing is, as in any other dashboard, we need to have a drill down feature, and Databricks do have it, right? So if you see here, this is a bar graph which says continent wise, right, what is the number of orders which have been placed, and the second one is for a particular year, right, what are the total revenue, and then how it is distributed across country, right, and then the continent. Okay, now we have the summary. Once we have the summary, we need to do a drill down, right? So you just have to click on a particular country which you're interested. Let's say I'm interested on India, right? So this is the India, right? So once I click on this, once I click on drill to, right, it will automatically go to your child pane, right, or your secondary pane, where if you see it drills down me the overall summary, right, in terms of what is the orders on India, and then what is the order by year, right? How many orders have been placed for that year, and month wise, right? What is the number of orders which have been placed? Sorry, month wise the revenue which has been gained, and then you also have a order table. So this will give you the like overall picture on like what is the order date, when it was ordered, who ordered it, right? Those details will be there, right? Now if you see here, this drill down is happening because you have the filters assigned here which will narrow down, right? So now let's say I want to do one more thing, right? Maybe on another one country, right, Indonesia, I need to know. So select this. So once you select this particular option, you could see automatically, right, that Indonesia has been filtered on the both the places because of cross filtering. And once you click on drill to, you will get you will get an option to drill to the other table. And since we are selected for a particular year, right, so you could see all the filters have been applied as expected, and you can get the beautiful drill down of your data, right? So through this we can build dashboards which in Databricks which has equivalent or similar to Power BI, right? And then we can also build the summary drill down capabilities as in the other dashboarding tools like Power BI and Tableau, right? Now let us see. Right now you have seen this picture, so we have a summary, and from the summary we are going to a drill down which gives in detail the details of a particular summary part, right? So for a particular country, for a particular year, what is the revenue or what is the orders. You want to go a drill down and then find out in deep, you can use the other pane, right? Now given this dashboard, let's see how we have built this dashboard, right? So for building this dashboard, first thing is, right, if you go to Power BI, you have something known as the Power BI data pane, right, or your model pane, where you will have all the data loaded. In Databricks it is simplified. You don't need to learn or read any, or basically you don't need to equip yourself with a new skill. Rather, if you know SQL, that is more than enough. So you have this data tab where you can add a data source which will just add directly your tables from UC, right? And you have add a create from SQL. This will basically allow you to write a SQL query, right? So the main thing which I want to show you is this is the query, right? What I am doing here is based on my normalized data, I am joining all the data set to get the overall view, right, of my data, right? So this is as simple as that. You, as long as you do the right join conditions and you apply the filters, since it is all connected through the join, or you can use a materialized view, right, and it will automatically do the drill down, right? And one more option is you also have an option to upload a file. So once you click on upload a file, it will go to your download, right? And then once you click on this, what it will do, right, it will go and it will load a create a table, right? And you, it's similar to your the data loading in other say when you create a table, right, the same way, right, it just goes there, and then based on the file it creates a table, and you have an option to overwrite existing table or maybe upload a new table, right. All these things can be done, right. So then you can overwrite the table, and that is the table which I already have created just for testing out. This table is not used anywhere, but just to show this functionality, this has been added, right. Now let us go to dashboard. So first step is you have to prepare the data. Now it's nothing but your SQL query, right? And you can write some normal SQL case statements, everything you can write, right? Now if you go to the summary pane, right? Again we have the card, right? So this is one of the graphs. So you have to click on counter. You have to click the table, right? So either you can get the orders from the total orders, or you can get from your revenue, the other table as well, right. So the regional table as well, right. So you can just give that, and then you can give the aggregation. So it will under the hood do the group by, do the aggregation, and then it will give you the result, right. And once you have this data loaded, then there are various types of charts, right. So this is like a summary, right. So how to create a new chart or add a new chart, right. In the bottom you have three options, right. So you have to select on add a visualization. So this will give you a drag, and you can drag it somewhere, right. So once you place it here, right, it will allow you to, so you can go and select the type of graph, say bar graph or your counter, right. Let's say you give a counter, and then do a line item, and then value, let's say you put some discount, right, and then you put a average of discount, right. You can use your aggregation functions, and then if you take the average of discount, right, then it will give you the average discount, right. It is as simple as that, right. So once you basically have created this data, right. So this is for your visual. So click on this visual, drag and drop, and then add your visual, right. And similarly you have a text box. So this is a text box where you can also have a markdown, right. So if you see here, you have an option to add markdowns. So if you see here, right, they have given a beautiful link where you can just go and add a markdown, right. So you can add a link. So maybe Wikipedia, right. Let me put this one, right. Let me add this, and then let me put ABC Limited, and then I can put my URL, right. Let's say I am putting this, right. And if you click on preview, see it is going as a link, right. And similarly you can add an image, right. So again you have a text box where you can create a summary, right. You can create a summary of your dashboard, and what you can do is you can probably do a let us ask the assistant, right. Let's see if it is able to give the summary, uh, give the summary of dashboard with sales, add it in text box. Okay, so we can have some content and add some images of sales as background. So you can just copy this, right, and then you can copy this, and you can go here, and then you can edit this, and then you can do a preview, right. So this will give me a nice summary of my text. So this is the use of the text box, right. So where you can basically go, and then you can select the image, right. And if you want to select a proper image, so if you see here, we have that image added here, right. So you can add images like this, right. This is just a summary. You have a summary, and once you have a summary, you have the images which you can basically add it, right. So this is complete markdown. You can have all the functionalities. You can add links to your sales, or you can add links to your documentation, right. And you can add link images to your dashboards, right, or your company, right. You can create an image, right. Now you have text box, you have graph, and there is something known as a filter, right. So once you click on a filter, there are again three types of filter. One is a global filter. If you see here, there is an option to add a global filter. So once you add a global filter, this will apply filters to all the data sets basically. So this is a global filter. this will apply the filter to all the pages in your data, right? Like say you have two pages here. The moment I add a filter here, right? Let's say I am going to add my region name, right? So once I add my R name and I add as a filter, right? So this will apply to all the pages. So once I select on Asia, so you could see, right? Once I select on Asia, you could see in the bottom, right? See, it drill down to only Asian countries, right? And once you go to other countries, again in the order details, right? You will see it would have been drilled down to a particular filter automatically, right? And this filter will be applied across, right? And this is one filter which if you want to apply some filters across pages, you can use this. Or for this demo, I have not used it, right? And you can we can remove this, delete this, right? Now the second filter is you have something known as page level filter. So as you can see here, this is for this particular page. I've added a filter. So once I select on a filter, right, so you could see there are types, different types are there. You have multiple values, single values. Single values allows you to choose only single value at a time. Multiple values allows you to pick multiple values, and you have date, and then you can have a text, and then there is a slider as well, right? Now once you click on a filter and you provide a value, right, so that will be automatically filtered in the bottom. So I can filter for America and then Asia, and then I can remove the filter on my country, right? So this will give me revenue for your Asia as well as America at the same time, right? So if you see here, see, we could basically do the drill down and drill up based on the filters, right? So this is the second filter which is applied at a page level, right? So number three, you have something known as widget filter. So the widget filter key use cases, the widget filter will not be visible to the end user, right? The main usage of widget filter is to basically do some testing for a particular dashboard and to apply this filter for the drill down. So you see the drill down in the beginning of the video, right? When I click on a particular video, sorry, when I click on a particular portion, it automatically drills down to the next page, right? So how it does, the trick lies here. So you have to select a like create a summary page. That summary page will have a page level filter as shown above, right? Say region name, nation name, order on the data set. So here the data set is regional order, and in the other page when you create the summary graphs, right? So here we have two of the summary graphs. So one is a bar graph, I mean both are bar graphs. So here you will add a filter fields on this widget at the same. So this is how we are able to do the drill down filter, right? Now in terms of the filtering, right, we have multiple filters, right? So it's like you can have five filters in your target, right? But in your source you can limit to two. Say for example in the first in the first graph, right, I have just filtered on only two of the three, right? Whereas in the second one, I have filtered on all the three columns. So the moment I select a particular value, right, and then I click on drill to, right, you will see the cross functional filtering is also applied. Basically, once I select a particular thing, it goes narrow down to the other one, and you can beautifully drill to the summary, right? So now with Databricks dashboards, you have enough capability to build a proper production ready dashboard, right, with all the functionalities, right? So let's assume, right, you have built a dashboard, right, and you are given a bar graph and charts, right? Now let us see if you have the options, right, within the dashboard, right? Now you have seen summary. Now let us take particular chart, right? So in terms of say your settings, right, you have something known as a settings, right? This is a global settings. So here you can select the background, you can select your modes. So you can have a dark mode or you can have a light mode, and then you can select your background colors, right? You can select the colors based on this, right? And then you can also select your local language, right? So since I am based out of India, I selected India. But whereas you can select, if you select United States, right, you will again see the conventions, right? Say millions, right? In India generally we speak in lakhs, but in US and other countries now we'll generally say millions, and then we'll put it as 50K, 100K, right? So it is switching automatically, right? And then you can select the overall theme, and for each of the filter, I mean each of the options, right, or each of the charts, you have options to select your title, right, and you can add a description. So So you can add a description, right? The description will be total orders, right? You can add a description, right? And uh, once you add a description, then next thing is you have this graph, right? The map. So in case of map, what you have to do is you have to first have the data in such a way, right? You have the country level details, right? For that, what I did is in our data we have the country, but however it expects in certain format. So if you see here, this is the graph which is powering the that dashboard. If you see here, I want to have, as per this chloropath map, right? The map image, it needs the first letter capital and it needs the country in lower cases, right? Whereas in the actual data, if I select the country directly, right? If I select the country directly, right, you can see the difference, right? So what we need to do is to add a image like this, country as country original. So if you see here, right, it has country, right, with sometimes spaces were there, and then there are some issues with the data. So I have to remove or lower the country and then make the initial capital to make it consistent, right? Now, next comes your uh, bar graph, right? So this bar graph is always known, right? You have a x-axis and then you can have a y-axis, right? And what you can do is for a x and y-axis, for a x and y axis, let me, I think it is selecting something. Let me tell you now. Okay. So yeah. So for a particular like your x axis, so this is at continent level we are having the count of orders, right? And you have another one, two more options, right? You have a color and the tooltip. So color is nothing but you can again do one more grouping, right? So region is again divided into your countries, right? So you can add country in the color, right? And tooltip is again, if you want to add some other parameters you can add. Say for example, in this case I've added tooltip, let's say I have year level revenue, and once I have a year level revenue I can basically add your see year level revenue for a particular continent, and in each continent, right, it is again broken down into each of the nations, right? So that is there in the tooltip, right? So it's almost like a four level of dimensions you can do, right, for bar graph, right? Similarly you have line graph, combo charts, and all the things which you can explore, right? And the key thing here is you have labels, right? You can enable labels, so this will display the values in the data. So once you click on labels, right, yeah, this should basically give me my labels. Let me do it on this. So once I click on labels, right, you could see the values getting updated here, right? You can add the values if you want, or you can remove this, right? And the next thing here is, right, if you see here in this case, right, we are doing a count of listing, right? And one of the most powerful features of Power BI, right, is basically measure, right? So what is a measure? If you see here, we have given a measure, right? So what is a measure and why it is very critical, right? Let's assume and let us go to the data and let's see what is the measure definition first, right? So if you see here, if you click on the schema, it will give you the measure, right? What is getting created. So if you go and edit, right? So it is nothing but I'm doing a sum aggregation, right? Sum of your like total price minus discount. Say I want the total revenue. So I'm getting the to price, overall price, total price minus discount. I'm separating the discount just for simplicity purpose, right? Now you can ask me, right? This can be also written as a query, right? Like how I derived the order date, right? I can also put, right, sum of my revenue, right? Yeah, that can be done, but the challenge will be, right, this basically once you have a data here, right, you will not be able to do a drill down, right? So meaning I have to do a group by on first on month, right? Then on say your year, right? As my group by changes, my summation should accordingly act upon those selected rows, right? So that's why measure is there in Power BI as well, where it's like a constant calculation, and as it gets added to the data it will be automatically applied. So for example, in this case we have a measure based on order year, right? So it will like group by order year, it will give you the sum of revenue. Whereas if you go to the drill down, right, so once I click on this 1994, right, this is, if you watch it clearly, right, this revenue is at basically at a year level, right? Now if I click on drill 2 and go to order details, right, you could see, right, it is again the same revenue. And if you see automatically, right, it gets converted to month level revenue, right? So as you change the dimension, your data will be calculated for that particular period, right? Okay, so for you to do the revenues, right, this is the power of measure, right? It is nothing but same whatever it is there in Power BI, but it's very powerful as you can drag the measure and then you can slice and dice in any combination and it will automatically fit to that particular grouping, right? So earlier you saw 1.99, now you could see the same 1.99, right, where basically is getting split across multiple months, right? So that is the power of this measures basically, right? Now once you create a chart again at a chart level, right, you can do a group by and then you can have multiple options, right? Especially for the date columns, you can do a year, week, month, right? As you select the things, it will automatically filter. So once you select on weekly data, right, so you could see here it will convert to a week level charts, right? So these all are automatic for you, right? And the final thing which I want to show you is, right, you have this summary table, right? You have a table options, and in this table you can select the keys which you want to display as a summary, and there is also a provision to show it as a see use for search. Once you click on use for search, it will basically be available for you to just for search, right? So you can search for a customer name also here, right? So you have an option to search, and in the search, right, you can apply a particular field. It need not to be displayed here in the data, but you can search for a customer key, right? Then automatically it will fetch the details of the customer key, right? And you can have other formatting options, right? So these are the key important aspects, right? So you have a dashboard, you can create a summary with the cards, and then you have multiple filters at global level, chart level, and then at page level, which allows you to filter the data. And you can do a drill down using a bar graph. Once you create a bar graph and you create a second page with the same data, you can do a drill down. And once you do the drill down, right, you can again do your additional filters, right? So you can do the drill down on two columns, remaining three columns can be default value of all, right? So you can do a beautiful visualization, right? Now let's say we have created the data, right, or we have created this dashboard and we have to share this dashboard, right? So for sharing this dashboard we have a couple of options. One is you go here, you click on publish, right? Once you click on publish, you can basically publish with embed credentials. This means whoever is creating the dashboard, those persons access will be provided, which is not recommended. So instead you have to use the individual permission. So whoever is having access to the underlying data as per Unity catalog, right, it is fully governed. So even though they have access to this dashboard, right, they will be only be able to see the data only when they have access to the underlying data, right? And if you want, you can enable the Genie space, right, or you can link to an existing Genie space. So the moment you click on publish, your dashboard gets published, right? And you can click on view published. So this will give the published dashboard, right? And since we have enabled Genie, you can also ask a follow-up questions to the Genie, right? So you can see, right, this is one way of basically narrowing down or you are loading the data, right? Let's say I want to filter for I want to have all the data, right? And then I have to, so this is how a published dashboard will look like, right? So yeah, so if you want to quickly narrow down, right, you click on this, you can drill to, right, it will drill to the particular period, right? So basically whoever has access to this Databricks dashboard can go and then they can access the data, right? And once they access the data, right, the next thing is, once you have the data, you also have options, other options, right? So if you want, you can ask a question towards Genie, right, on this chart, right? You can say, right, explain this chart, explain this chart, right? So once you click on explain this chart, right, it basically highlights the selected portion and it will use the underlying context of this graph and it will give you the conclusions, right? uh, but yeah, So maybe we can ask like what is this monthly revenue means. See, so you can do some basic questions, right? So it will give you the details, right, for you to understand the chart, right? You have self conversational capabilities and you can ask some questions about the charts, right? And once you basically, this is available as a genie and it's again in beta, right? And if you want you can click on full screen, so this will give you it full screen, right? And the next thing is, you can, if you want, right, you can download the data, you can download it as excel and then download as image, right? So once you click on download as png, right, it will download the image, right? So you can see here you have a image downloaded, right, which will give you the monthly revenue. This can be attached to your dashboards or your ppts and can be shared with your stakeholders, right? And now next thing is, you have one way, right? This is one way of viewing the data, but you can ask me, right, like say I have my web application, right, and I don't want to basically uh, ask users to come to this just to view the dashboard, right? So don't worry, Databricks also has options for this. So once you click on share, you have an option to embed dashboard, right? So to embed dashboard, first you have to go to your user settings, right? Under your user settings, you have to go to security, and then you will have an option for embed dashboard. You can search for embed. See, embed dashboard, and here there are allow approved domains and deny. You can click on allow or allow approved domains, and that way, right, it will give you this option, right? So right, so you can embed the dashboard, right? So this way they don't want to necessarily come to this Databricks to view the dashboard. As in your other tools, you have an option to basically share it as a like iframe. So once you click on embed dashboard, it will give you a code, right? And then it will basically copy this content, right? You can copy this and add it to any other application. Say for example, I have my streamlit application, right? Just for showing this capability, I have a streamlit application again built using Databricks apps, right? And there I have embedded this dashboard, right? So I have just, if you see here, it basically asks you for authentication. So once you click on continue, right, once it is logged in, right, you can refresh this page, right? Then you will see the same dashboard, right? Whatever it is there in your backend will be embedded here. See, so now you don't need to necessarily basically come to the Databricks API, right, or your Databricks URL to access the dashboard. Whereas you can basically embed this in any of your applications, and you can have the same level of capabilities, right? Whatever you basically add in your UI, right? And the biggest benefit is, unlike other tools, the governance is inbuilt, right? So if you are having permission to the data sets, then only you will be able to access this data set, right? So this is another one way, right? Let's assume, right, no, we don't have an app, right? Can we embed it in Teams or in SharePoint? I believe we have options for SharePoint, Confluence page, right? You can embed this in all those third party apps as well as an iframe, right? Now we have this data on an Databricks dashboard, right? Like we have embedded in an app, right? So this app is basically hosted again using a Databricks feature of Databricks apps. So if you go to the apps, I have created a demo app, and that is the demo app you saw there, right? So for simplicity, right, this app doesn't have much. It just have a single py file, right, which will have your streamlit app, right, which will host that iframe, right? So the iframe content has been added here, that's all, right? Now next option, right, say now I have my app, I have my dashboard, right? I was able to successfully embed the data. Now the next question will be, how will you basically subscribe to this, right? So let's say, right, if something is refreshed, right, and then you want to get a notification, right? So what you can do is, you can also have an option to schedule this, right? So okay, let's see the subscribe thing. Mm, that should be one option, right? So you can add a user here, right? And whenever you add a user here, right, they will be able to basically see this things, right? And next, let's say you want to share this, right? You can download this as PDF. So once you click on download PDF, you will be able to basically share this as a PDF as well, right? So it is generating a PDF, and you can see, right, like before it is generating, right? See, we are able to basically give a summary of what is the dashboard about, and then we can give a add our images or URLs. Right? You could see it is nicely embedded here, right? So you have this dashboard. Now you can see it gives you the summary sheet, right? And then it also gives you your the other one, right? So there is one out of two. I don't know whether it is giving the other one. Let me re-download it on PDF. Info option. See, and you have an info option that will give you, right, who has worked on this dashboard and what are the data sources attached to the dashboard. So that, see, if I'm an end user, right, I just want to get an access to the underlying source, right? I can quickly see here, and then I can reach out to the person, right? So now, once you have the dashboard ready, next thing is how will you productionize this dashboard, right? Don't worry, Databricks has option for that as well. You click on this edit, right? You will be able to, so once you click on edit, you can click on this triple dot, right? And then this will give you a option to add it to Git. Since I have already added to Git, you can see here, right? This has been, like, you have a source control added. So if you click on this, right, it will go to my YouTube channel, Databricks YouTube channel, GitHub repository, and whenever I make a change, it will be automatically published to my backend as a JSON file, and this can be you deployed to production. Let's see here, I have made a change to the country, right? And then I added a data for the accurate that thing, right? And then I added few changes on your dashboard overview, right? So all these changes are there. So demo changes commit, right? So I can basically do a proper CI/CD, and I can push it to my Git. From that Git, it can be also be deployed to the production environment, right? So you can go here, click on this, it will go to your backend repository, right? So yeah, so that's all. So as to summarize, in this video we see how we can build a production grade dashboard using Databricks. Everything with your known SQL and Python, right? You don't need to learn anything new. And how flexible is it to add filters, and how to do a cross filtering, right? Once you select a pane, it will only filter those, and how to add the drill down capacities using widget filters and then the page level filters, right? And finally, how to access the dashboard. For accessing, you have multiple options. One is you can add it as a, like, you can share the link URL, right? Once you click on this, right, you can click on copy link, and once the link is copied, you can give it to the end users. Or if you're having some existing web app or another applications, you can embed the credentials after enabling the embedding of credentials option, right? Sorry, embedding the dashboard option. And then next thing is you can also share the dashboard contents as PDF. If you want, you can download the data, and then you can download the images, right? And since everything is under UC, you can very well have your RLS CLS implied on the backend data set, so that if I don't have access to America, right, then I will not be able to see this chart even though the chart is there. Since I'm not part of the America group, right, I will not be able to see this dashboard. And in terms of CI/CD also, we have options to, like, basically check in this to Git, and then maintain CI/CD and deploy it to prod. So overall, comparing to other dashboarding tools, Databricks has evolved Databricks dashboard to way, like, there have been a lot of filters, like lot of features like drill down, your cross filtering, and then ease of using, right, the navigation, right? Everything has been added in Databricks dashboard, right? So you have a lot of options which have been done are coming into this product. So you can very well going forward, right, uses for any production use case, right, and then show it to your customers, right? You don't need to go for third party licensing, right, for building any tool. Rather, you can directly use Databricks dashboard and you can build this charts, right? I understand there are few features which I feel like which are lagging or which are it to be added in Databricks is I feel like we have a decomposition graph in Power BI, and there are options to add images or your like shapes, like as PowerPoint, right? You can add some background images in the to the graph, which is not there. But in terms of purely on the dashboarding capabilities, right? I feel like it is more or less close with whatever there in other tools. So I have published this to my GitHub, so you can just clone it and then add it to your Database Community Edition, and you can review this or you can start creating some wonderful dashboards. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And in my next video, I will probably go and revise this, like, or revisit this, right? And then we can do it using GenAI, right? As part of my GenAI series, I'll show you guys how to use Genie and then how to couple Genie with your Databricks dashboard. Thanks for your time.